Hey guys, so today we wanted to talk about something a little different. We wanted to do a different video. We wanted to do a different blog than usual. And what we mean by that is it's going to be not so informative as they usually are. We're not looking to help you improve any skills. We're not helping to, or not looking to help improve uh, your vocabulary, your thought process, your insert the blank, whatever it is that we typically do here. We're looking to provide some encouragement to help us look ahead, to give you permission to, or to help you feel like you have permission to dream a little bit, to look into the future and see what's on the other side. Uh, I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that that might be a little short at this point in time to just the freedom to think ahead, the to dream, to have a big vision. At this point, it's pretty uncertain as far as day to day. Everything's changing so quickly. No one really has a good idea of how and when things are going to go back to normal, or if they're going to go back to normal. There's just a lot of uncertainty, and with uncertainty, you kind of become focused in on the here and now, and you lose the ability to look a year, 2, 3 years down the future, and to really dream about what God may have in store for you. So today we're going to dream a little bit of what God may have in store for us here at Anthro, what we hope God has in store for us. And in doing so, we hope that it gives you permission, or at least it lets you feel like you have permission to take a second to just rest and to think about the future. It doesn't have to be hours on hours. You can't continue to dream without being in the here and now and working towards that dream. But that dream helps us guide our decision making. It helps us uh, point our resources in the right direction. And we hope to do that. And also, dreaming is fun to be able to sit back and to think of things that God can be doing in our lives here and years down the road. It can be just an encouraging, it's just a time of fun, lightheartedness, and a chance just to kind of search and to reorient our life to the direction that we want to go. But before we want to get there with Anthro, um, just wanted to kind of hit on a point that we all probably already know, but it's just something that we really need to hit home, and it's the fact that there's one thing in our life right now that I guarantee has not changed, and it's one thing I guarantee will never change, and that is that God is the same today as He was yesterday, as He was the day before that, and He'll be the same a week from now, a year from now, 3 centuries from now. God is the same as He has always been and will always be. And so that is something that we can rest in, and that the fact that everything that's going on in the world, we may have no clue what's happening. We have no idea what tomorrow or what next week is going to look like. But the nice thing is, we don't have to. The fact that God does, the fact that God has known and will always know what's happening, that nothing is happening outside of His hand, outside of His knowledge, outside of His sovereignty, that God is in control of all things. And knowing that allows us to rest. It allows us to sit back and to dream a little bit, to think about the future, but to know that no matter what, that God is there and that God is working and that God is continually providing for us. So in the blog, in the written portion, the one thing that I wanted us to do here was, before looking ahead, I just take a second to sit and think about all the times that God has shown His providential hand in providing for us through whatever situation it has been. It could be a loss of a family member, a loss of a job. It could be in getting a job in a rough spot, or it could be in finding a spouse, or it could be any number of things. God has always providentially provided for His people, and He'll continue to do so. So take a second, think about the past, think about the ways that He has done that, think about how He is doing it now, and think about the ways that He might be doing it in the future. And so after you're there, after you've done that, you know that God is the same as He was yesterday, and He provided for you then. He's providing for you now, and He will provide for you in the future. So rest in that and know that despite whatever may happen, whatever is changing, whatever is going on around you, that He's the same, that He's providing, and ultimately He provided the ultimate need for us, and that is a sacrifice for our sins to satisfy His wrath, so that we all may have a relationship with Him for eternity. And this, of course, comes through our faith in Jesus Christ and His death and His burial and His resurrection. And that God has provided us the ultimate need. He has given us the ultimate provision and salvation through Christ, through faith in Him, and by grace, by His grace. So knowing that, let's go ahead, let's think about the future. Okay, so here at Anthro, most of you have heard or have at least read at least a little bit, and that's our day-to-day goal is that we want to help churches better glorify God through design. And we focus specifically on websites and logos. And what that means is that we want to, when we hand over a finished product to a church, is that we want to give them something that looks better, that works better, and in doing so that allows them to step up a little bit, to become a little bit better in the design and the creativity field. And in doing so, we believe that it glorifies God. And it glorifies, something that is designed to someone's best abilities, glorifies better than something that is just thrown together. We think that's true of just about everything. Someone that, if you're going to work hard for 40 hours, you're going to better glorify God than if you are lazy for 40 hours, or perhaps that sort of thing. So we want to help churches glorify God better through design, primarily with websites and logos. But that's our day-to-day. That's what we hope to do every day when we work with a church. But let's talk about future, like 10 years from now, 20 years from now. And so the way that we've structured this is not quite like a figures or a timeline or a date and a year of what we want to see this, we want to see this at this date, or we want to have this many people at that many times, or this many clients. We don't have anything like that. What we have is this like pie in the sky general idea that's really flexible, and it's flexible for a reason, I think. So what is that big idea? And that's the idea that here at Anthro, we want to provide as many jobs as possible for seminary students at as many institutions as possible and as many places as possible. So we want, obviously with that, we want to grow. We want to get bigger. We want to serve more churches. We want to make more money. But the point of that, our end goal here is, from the beginning, we want to provide jobs for seminary students. And we want to provide them with a steady income, a stable environment, and provide them with and with that stable environment, provide them with the ability to continue to serve their families, serve their churches, and to learn to the best of their abilities. Now, when you're in seminary, and most of you have heard some sort of story from their pastor or from your pastors or someone in your church who went to seminary, of just how trying of a time it can be. It's financially it's a burden. It's a burden on your time. It's a burden on just your health, your mental stamina. It's a burden on basically everything. And in a sense, it's designed to be that way. And in a sense, it's great that it is that way. Because someone who's looking to enter into a lifetime of ministry, you're going to have to learn to rely on God for a lot of things. And we could look back to what we talked about at the beginning of this video, that through the burden of everything, you learn to rely on God to provide for all of these things. And while you're in seminary, it's not a financially advancing time. It's not a very socially advancing time either. There's just a lot of things that you're not really meant, or it's not really designed for you to advance in standing in just about any way, which is fine. And it's not something that we're looking to do here at Anthro. We're not looking or planning to get rich through it. We're not looking or planning on anyone really getting rich through working with us. But what we are looking to do is to provide some sort of stability, to help to lessen the burden a little bit, to provide a good job for these students so that they can continue to pay the bills, maybe work a few less hours a week so they're not working 30 hours at a Walmart or a bakery or at a shipping facility. Provide them with a good paying job with a reasonable amount of hours so that they can focus on their family first, their church, and then their academics. So that's really our driving desire, is that we wanted to help the future leaders of the church to continue to improve, to learn, to grow, while providing for their families, so that down the road, when they look back at their time in seminary, it might have been a challenging time for them. It might have been a tough time financially, but they could look back and see that, working for Anthro really allowed me to spend an extra 3 or 4 or 5 hours a week studying languages, or spending time with my daughter or my son or my wife, or really helped me spend more time at church. And it was freeing in a sense that I didn't have to work so many hours, or I didn't have to do this or that, or I didn't have to worry about losing a job or finding a second job or something like that. Our goal is that down the road, 10 years from now, that you might have a pastor who worked for us, and that they're thankful for their time with us because they were able to get the most out of the seminary experience as possible, academically, socially, spiritually, while also not having to worry quite as much about the financial stressors that there are that come with seminary. So yeah, we want we want to have as many employees as possible, because that means there's going to be as many seminary students and family members working for us, which allows them to better, or so that we can provide them with an opportunity, with an environment to pay the bills, while also being able to focus on their seminary experience, to get the most out of it, so that later on down the road they're able to better serve the local church, because they had more time freed up, that they had less stress during that time, that they had an environment that was healthy and that was supportive to them. And that's what we hope to provide for these future employees. So yeah, that's our goal. That's our pie in the sky. It's loose and it's not very nailed down, because by not saying, we're not looking for as many web designers as possible, because truth be told, there's not that many creative guys going to seminary, but there's analytical minds, there's wives, there's all sorts of different things, different giftings that we've all been given that can help us propel this business forward, to propel this vision forward. You could have guys that are accountants. You could have guys who are more sales and marketing, who like to talk. There are tons of guys that like to talk at seminary. You might have wives who are great artists, who would be really great designers. You might have husbands who are great designers, and the wives are great accountants, and they could both help us out in some way. This is kind of the ideas that we have. And who knows, we might branch out into some other things down the line to help provide more opportunities for seminary students. But that's our pie in the sky idea. That's our big idea that we want to pursue, is that we want as many students as possible working for us in as many institutions as possible. So, down the road, we'll have employees from Midwestern, which of course is our favorite, employees from Southern, Southeastern, Western, DTS, TEDS, Wheaton, wherever you could think of that, or wherever your favorite seminary is. We hope to have students there that are working with us, that are working for us, so that they can provide for their family, while also being free to study more, to serve more, and to love their families better because they're working with us. So that's our pie in the sky idea. And if you like this idea, if you want to help us out with this, we'd greatly appreciate it. And there's a few things that you can do. There's two really simple ones, and then there's one-ish that's a little bit more out there and extreme. But we'll start with the two easy ones because everyone likes easy. So if this is something that you want to help us out with, and you like our idea and you get behind it and you can help us propel this forward, the two things is really simple. You can like our page on Facebook. It's going to be the most social capital that we'll get is through Facebook likes. The more people that like us, the more credible we become to future clients, to future churches. And also, if you like us on Facebook, interact with our stuff that we put out there through social media. The more likes, the more comments we get, the better off. The better reach we get to more people that see it. The more credible our stuff becomes again. It's social capital. The more people that are with us and the more people that like us and follow us, the higher likelihood someone else will look at us and see us as a credible business. Now, those are the two easy ones. And if you were to do those, we would be beyond happy and thankful for everything that you've done. But if you really like this idea, I mean, like, you're ready to get up and, help us out tremendously. You're ready to see it. You're ready to see pastors working who have worked for us, who are out and helping churches and can look back at this time fondly. Or you're hoping that your future pastor has worked for us. Something along those lines. The thing that you could really do to help is to share us, to talk about us to anyone that you may know that might need some of our services. If your sister's best friend's mother works for a church and they're looking for a new website, you're going to let them know about us. You're going to talk about us. You're going to share some videos that we put up. You're going to continue to like our content and comment on our Facebook material. You're going to talk about us to your best friends, to whoever. The word of mouth, utilizing your network to help our network grow, so that we can continue to help churches better glorify God through design. And that would be tremendous if you even one share. If you're talking to your friends and they're in the middle of a church rebrand or something along those lines, and you let them know about us, man, that would be tremendous, and we'd be so thankful for you and for any effort you put forth in that manner. We would love that. So that would be the more crazy on top of things idea. But if you were to do that, man, we'd be so thankful. So those three things are like and follow us on Facebook and interact with our content. Help us build some social capital with other churches, and seeing that we're a legitimate business, that we're there to help them and that we do good work. And then the last thing is talk about us. Just continue to share the word about Anthro branding and about what we can do for churches and about what we do for churches, and just the benefit that we have and how we're different, how we're focused on the normative sized church, but we're also trying to provide jobs for seminary students so that they can provide for their families better, and be able to be better equipped to serve the churches down the road. That would be great. It would actually be pretty awesome. So all that said, just want to leave this with one statement, and that is this: how great would it be if 10 years down the road your pastor was an employee of ours? How great would it be if, because of your support, that the pastor that you get here 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, is better equipped to answer questions that your kids, that your grandkids are asking, because he was able to spend 5 extra hours a week on his studies because he was working with us as opposed to working at Walmart or Target or whatever business he might have been at otherwise. How great would it be if a future church leader of yours worked for us, and because of that, they were able to spend just that much more time in God's Word with God's church, preparing themselves for a lifetime of ministry. How awesome would that be?